Hey everyone, Ken here. So today I have a Bernina foot pedal. This is the bottom half, and this is obviously the top half. Oops, sorry about that. This happens to be an LV1 style Bernina foot pedal. Most foot pedals in the industry work pretty much the same way, so I just kind of wanted to show you if your pedal's not working, what we have to do as technicians to get in here and diagnose if it's a foot pedal issue of a component that we can fix, or the cable possibly, or is it something where you're just going to have to get a new foot? Depending on the design of the foot, some are repairable and some are not repairable. And so basically what you have here on the bottom side of the foot is you have a couple springs. They just sit in here. And then that's the resistance, the spring back. When you push your pedal, it'll automatically come back in the up position. And so that's what these are doing. The cable obviously comes into the foot pedal. And then they have two wires. It's a positive and a negative. And then what you have here is a slider, is what I'll call it. And then you have this component here that slides on that slider. So as you press your foot, it'll go down. As you unpress the foot or release it, it will come back up. On the upmost position, you usually have the most resistance in the electrical circuit, and that's what causes the pedal to basically stop. And then as you push more and more, it allows more and more electricity to flow through until you get all the way to full speed, and that's how you get the full speed of your pedal to make the machine sew. And so this is called a variable resistor. Some sewing machine foot pedals will have a thing called, I'll just call it like a contact. So basically, if it's open, electricity can't jump between those contacts. If it's closed and they're touching, then it allows electricity to flow and then come to this variable resistor. And so why some pedals may be able to be repaired versus some pedals may not. This is a very specific variable resistor. This is not something you can just go buy off the shelf. It is custom made to this foot. So if this component goes bad, unfortunately, you'll be getting a whole new foot. Most of the times it's the cable. Very rarely do these go bad, but they can. And you can buy variable resistors, but because they're made specifically, printed for a certain shape, design, etc., and the way the foot works, sometimes you can't just replace this. And so unfortunately, that would be where you would buy a new foot. The cable, obviously, if it's cracked or broken, you can test this with a meter and validate whether the cable's good. And if the cable has a break in it somewhere, you can use a multimeter and you can test for that and figure out where the break is. Typically, it's either going to be in the head here, or it's going to be right where it comes into the foot. This slack here is tightened down, so if you were to jerk on the cable, it won't mess up the connection that's connecting to your electronic components. So typically it's usually right here, or obviously like if you set something on it and kinked it or did something like that, could be anywhere else in the cable, but typically they're usually kind of right here or right here. So yeah, that's kind of how this foot works. This one happens to just use the pivoting of it. They use like I'll call it a horseshoe shape design with a screw on either side, and that's how they secure this foot together. You take 4 screws out and then this whole unit comes apart, and then kind of the same way, you'll put the springs back in. You can, put that over. Usually you'd put them here on this side. And then you'd place the foot on top, you'd compress everything, and then you put the screw, the horseshoe shape from the bottom up in, and then you would just screw them back in. Like I said, every design of foot pedal is different, but hopefully that gives you the basics of kind of how a foot pedal works in a sewing machine and what your technician's going to go and look through when they're trying to determine, is the pedal worth the time to fix it, or is it just better, to buy another pedal? Like I said, on these Berninas, they're usually $100 up. So on these, if you can fix the cable, obviously you might want to spend some time and have your technician look into that. But if it does happen to be this board, unfortunately, you're going to have to buy another pedal anyways. So that's it for this one. Thanks.